Hi, I'm Erica, and I'm the teen librarian here at the Chicago Public Library.
Hi, my name is Kristin, and I'm a children's librarian at Independence.
Welcome to the first Tween Saturday. Today, we hope to make a bookmark like this one that I made earlier today. And if we have time later, Kristin and I can show you how to make a cup holder as well.
I just want to remind everyone that this is a safe space. So we're trying to create a space where we can relax and be comfortable. We all make mistakes because we're human, but if we can catch them, we can fix it. And it's important that you just be creative and open.
Okay, so let's get started. For this project, you will need a scrap of cardboard from a flat box, you know, the flap from all those Amazon boxes that we're getting. They work really great. A ruler, a marker, a pair of scissors,
You want me to show my scissors?
some thread or twine, a threading needle, which is optional. These are the ones that we have. They're pretty cool. Some fabric yarn, and some tape, which is also optional. And of course, your creativity, which will make this project unique. Okay, so grab your cardboard and your ruler and your marker, and now measure 1 inch from the top and place a single dot at that spot. So
And so we measure 1 inch from the top. Do we place it on the edge?
I marked it from here to the 1 mark. So,
okay. And then we use the top and the side edge of the cardboard, right?
so it kind of looks like that. Hopefully you can see it.
Okay, so I'm right underneath here. And that's 1 inch from the top.
Yes. So using your ruler, draw a line from where your dot is, going from left to right. Like that.
Okay. I want to make sure I get it straight here.
And if it's not straight, it's okay. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be unique like us.
Awesome.
Okay. And now you're going to do the exact same thing on the bottom. So just flip it over and do the exact same thing.
Okay, so I'll measure 1 inch. I got to make sure I do my lines the same way, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm measuring 1 inch from the bottom and putting a dot next to the side to look like this. Okay, and then I'm gonna extend that line using my ruler. And it doesn't have to be perfect. That's a good thing to remember. Sometimes I get too caught up on how straight they are, especially when we're cutting things out like this.
Awesome job. That looks great. Okay. How did everyone else's turn out? Did they turn out good? Yeah. Wonderful. Okay. So make sure you still have your ruler and marker nearby. You'll need it for the next step. We're going to need to make 6 dots, 1 dot at each inch and a half inch. So let's see if we could do this. I like to just focus on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So it looks like I'm going to be between 2 and 4.5 inches on my ruler.
So we need to do 6 dots going horizontally along the line
Yes, correct.
at 1 inch for every dot.
So we want to start at, like, I like to start in the middle because that's easy for me to look at it. So like, again, I counted it. So I know that I want to be between 2 and 5. So that's where I'll make my 1 and 5. Oh, you can't see it, so I'll make it better. Here and here. And then I'll go again here, here. And
Okay, so I have exactly 6 inches here. So I'm going to make my first dot at the 3 and then go to 2 and then 1, 4 and 5.
Yep.
Okay, let's give that a shot. All right. So if your cardboard is different sizes, the math, this is your most trickiest math part, right? So if I didn't have exactly 6 inches, I would have to divide that into 2 and then come out from there, correct?
correct.
Okay. All right, so that may be a little bit confusing. Let's take a look again. So because I had exactly 6 inches, which is a good place to start, I was able to find the middle is 3, and then an inch from each on the middle would just be on the lines 2, 4, 1, and 5. And did you had a different measurement. Will you show that again?
That's how I did mine.
Okay. How did you find the middle of the line?
I messed up, and that's okay. I just kind of winged it. But you just want to make sure that you have 6 lines to make our bookmark.
Gotcha. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, I think I screwed up somewhere.
But that's okay. We just need to make one more notch. One more
Okay.
dot.
So yes, I did this wrong. Let me try. I'm going to try on the other side.
Okay.
So again, I got 6, so I'm going to leave out that middle dot because we're not marking the middle if we need to have 3 on both sides. So I need to make 3 dots on both sides of 6. Okay. Okay, so I think this is what you did. So I found my middle, and then I came a 1/2 inch over, and then I marked that, and then that's 2.5. So I marked 2.5, and then I marked 3.5. And now I'm going to go an inch from 2.5, which is 1.5. Okay. And an inch from 3.5 is 4.5. And then an inch from that would be 5.5. And an inch from 1.5 would just be a 1/2 inch. Hopefully this isn't too confusing. I'm going to show y'all. Okay. Okay, so again, I found my middle. Hopefully you can see this. I found my middle, which is 3 inches. And then I came to both sides of that 1/2 inch out. So that took me to 2.5, and 3.5. And then from 2.5, I went over to 1.5 to 0.5. And from 3.5, I went to 4.5 and then 5.5. So hopefully that makes sense.
Okay, so now we're just going to do it again at the bottom. If
Okay.
it's easier, you could just draw a line.
Ah, clever.
Straight down.
So we're going to fill that line into the middle part.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. I can do that.
Okay, this is how your cardboard loom should look like now. How does everyone's look?
Let's see. I think I'm getting too precious with it because I'm still working. So. But I will catch up. And like you said, it doesn't have to be perfectly straight.
You won't have to worry about the lines because we won't see it. It'll get covered by the twine. This
So
is just a visual. This is just a visual for us.
The lines are just a starting point for
Yeah.
where we'll be weaving, right?
Yes.
So it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah,
This
that
is
looks
my
great.
lines. It looks like a fence.
So now all we're going to do now is use our scissors to cut up here.
Okay.
And if you're not comfortable with this, you could always have an adult or mom or dad help you with this. So you don't want to cut fully, you just want to cut like a quarter.
So cut a notch.
And then cut again, cut again, cut again.
Okay, so I'm making my slats that
Yeah.
I'm going to weave my yarn onto.
Yes.
Perfect.
And then you want to do that with the bottom as well.
So when we're weaving, it's important to remember we've got 2 threads. One will be going horizontally and one will be going diagonally. And that's what makes our fabric. So we're all just leading up into that point to weave our fabric together.
Great. I'm just bending these slightly, very gentle, so that we could actually get the twine through them later.
And so should I have this much, an inch worth of space for these? I shouldn't cut them down.
No.
Okay. And so if we think about clothes, like a lot of times we don't see those threads that are in our clothes, but this is how clothing was made originally. Before the machines, before everything, you would have a person making each thread by hand. So that's pretty amazing to think about. All right, so I'm bending forward, correct?
Right. Very gentle. You don't want to break them off.
Good, we got a good tab here. Nice, all right.
Okay, so now you're going to need to grab your twine or thread and wrap it around the cardboard. The best thing to do is start from the bottom left and go from top to bottom. I'll show you and then we could repeat it if there's any questions. You want to make sure that your twine has a long tail. So we're probably going to start right here. Can you see that? And And all I'm doing is going to put it straight into the slot where we cut, and we're going to go top to bottom like that. You see that?
And so I'm leaving this part loose and working with the longer part.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And I still have my twine on my spool. It doesn't matter. Again, it's unique. As long as you have enough to tie it and get 6 columns at the end, you should be okay. So how does yours look? Does yours look like mine at all? I'm going to keep on going until the very end, and then I could show you again how it's supposed to look.
And so I'm just threading around one time on each line.
Yes. So your thread should be covering up the lines that we marked earlier. So there is my 6 lines.
And so my right side should be straight like this, and then my wrong side should be slightly slanted, right? Like this.
Correct.
Okay.
So now I'm just going to cut from the spool, and I'm going to knot the 2 tails together.
Okay. On the wrong side,
Back
you
should-
put them together?
Right. The back should look like that.
Okay. And so is it important to catch any of these strings while I'm knotting it? Or it could just be tied to each other?
It could just be tied to each other, and this is where the tape could come in. If it's a distraction to you, you could always tape it so that the tails are secure like that.
And so I'm double knotting my 2 strings together, so they won't be able to come apart.
Yes.
And then tape them up and keep them out of the way.
Yes.
Sounds good. Perfect. Ooh.
Now we're going to start weaving. Pick out the first color of yarn you want to use and cut about 6 arm lengths of yarn.
6 arms.
So I decided to get a different color. So this is what I'm using from earlier.
Oh, okay.
So
I like those gradiated colors.
Yeah.
They're nice. Those are really popular right now, right?
great. So again, Miss Kristin and I are just counting it. And it's always best to have more than not enough, because it's easier to subtract yarn, but it's very difficult to add. 4, 5, and 6.
All right.
So I'm just going to cut it. Yep.
It's interesting. So this part of your arm here is usually about 36 inches, like a yard. So like if you ever don't have a ruler, sometimes you can use your arm. So that's just a little factoid for y'all.
If you want to know something pretty cool about Miss Kristin, her background is in art, I believe. She studied at the the Art Institute of Chicago.
Yeah. Actually, I do have a background in fashion. So come ask me all your fashion questions when we reopen fully. Because I love talking fashion and just like measurements and things. When you're talking about length, I was thinking about if anybody has, ever knitted anything, then we know we need a longer piece, because once you knot it all up, it gets really short, right?
Right.
All right,
Okay.
so I'm ready.
So if you're using a needle, now you're going to thread your needle. These are pretty cool. They're plastic. They're not really sharp at all. You can find these at the dollar store, or you can even find them online. They come in a bundle, multiple sizes. Again, this is optional. You don't have to use this. So Miss Kristin is showing you to thread the needle.
Right. It has a really big eye, so it's easy. Usually I put the head of the eye over the thread because that makes it a little bit more manageable.
Mm-hmm.
But these are really cool. These are really cool needles for practice.
Yeah. And then you want to make sure that you have a knot in your needle and thread.
So are you knotting it around the base of the needle? Or are you knotted at the end?
No, at the base of the needle. Thank you. That's a
Ah.
good question.
So to knot it, you're just knotting it so it doesn't come out of the needle, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And I'm not going to use a needle just to show you a different option. It's really easy with this that we don't need it.
All right. All right, so I got a little knot here so it stays on.
Okay, we're going to weave over and under each twine. Watch me and then do the same. Make sure you pull the yarn to almost the very end. Again, watch me and then we could do it together. So I'm just gonna go under, over, under, over, under, and over, and I'm at the very end. So all I'm gonna do is continue to pull my thread. Still going, still going. This is what happens when you have a lot, but it's okay. And I'm almost at the very end. You see? So then what I'm gonna do is grab some tape.
I'm all twisted.
And that's okay. And I'm just gonna tape it down so that it's secure.
So how long of a tail do you have at the end? Ah, so you have a tail at the end, but it's visible, so it's very small. Okay. All right, I'm gonna tape that.
Cool.
So I'm at the bottom now. Should I be at the top?
No, mine's at the bottom as well.
Okay.
So now we're just gonna go the opposite way. And you don't really want it all the way at the bottom because that will give us problems later, but that's, we could always fix that. But just make sure that you leave a little, maybe 2 fingers like that.
Okay. That's a good tip. Okay. So about 2 fingers from the line that we drew.
Right.
We're gonna start our weave. Okay, so on the first one I did under, over, under, over, under, over. So then the next time I'm gonna do under, over, the opposite of the line that I did.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, easy enough. So just like knitting, it's like we have to remember kind of what we did before. And I keep getting tangled.
I get
This is a
tangled
long
too. That's
string.
because of the long string.
Yeah. But like you said, it's better to have more than
Right.
less, right?
Okay, so I'm getting very close to the end.
Oh, you're fast.
And you don't want it tight and you don't want it loose. You kind of want it to be like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. You want it just right.
Right. Tension is the word for that. So you'll hear that a lot if you're doing any kind of fiber craft. weaving, knitting, anything. It's your tension, not too tight, not too loose is a really good way of describing it. Of course, at home, you can have your own music that you like to work to, playing. Maybe you're able to connect with some friends online while you do this. As you'll see, once we start weaving more and more, it's just so relaxing to sit and think, well, over or under, you kind of have to have that relaxing focus on it. So I love crafts like this.
And look at that, Miss Kristin had made her first 2 lines. Just so you guys are aware, we have some books too for weaving if you want to, and other projects. So this is one that we found.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you could do bracelets and everything.
You could even try to make a cell phone cover, a fabric cell phone cover. Pretty cool.
Oh, that's so cool.
This is the book that we used to make the cup holder. There's instructions in this book that you could use. And then this one is from 2019, so it's 2 years old, but this is the cardboard loom. So it's kind of exactly what we're doing here.
Awesome.
Yeah. So again, we're just going to continue to weave until we finish our yarn.
So once you get these principles of weaving down, you'll be able to do this with all sorts of things. You can weave like fabrics, like actual cuts of fabrics together. You can weave paper. Just as long as you have that basket, you think of a basket. Well, baskets were made out of wood. So you could even make something like that. Raffia. So many possibilities.
So Miss Kristin, is there anything cool going on at your location or in children's services for the month of March?
Well, let's see. There is always programming on our website. But one thing that stands out is we just released all of our best of the best titles for 2020. So you can go onto our website and you can see videos of librarians book talking those books, as well as just the list. So the best of the best is something we do every year. It's like the best books that were published on the year before. So it's one of my favorite times of the year because you get to revisit like all of those great titles that just came out.
And these are also books that may have been read the most in the Chicago Public Library by you, our patrons.
Yes. And then we have our Tween Saturdays coming up, right? So Saturdays, there's always maker things. So we're always doing crafts like this.
And then this is Tween Saturday.
Yes.
So in teen services, we are finishing, I believe, tomorrow, the Winter Teen Challenge. If you go onto the website, chicagopubliclibrary.org/teens, and then search Winter Challenge, you'll see what it is. You have to submit 3 original artworks, and you would be able to win one of 12 monetary prizes. So there's a chance of you to win some money. That's pretty cool. Like Miss Kristin said, we in Teen Services also have a video of our coworkers up of the best books that have been read in 2020. And it's really exciting. So yeah, check it out.
Yes. I always get so excited about this time of year because we used to do Best of Us in person, but now we can all see it online.
So once I get a line or two, I scrunch it down so that you could start seeing it come to life. That's the exciting part of this, is when you actually get to see your creativity come through. As Miss Kristin said earlier, once you get the hang of this, you could add so much flair to it. One of our coworkers, she does weaving and she actually puts jewelry, like gems, inside it, and it's really cool.
Wow, yeah.
And like what Miss Kristin also said earlier, I like doing this because it's actually very meditative like. You actually have to be mindful of what you're doing so you are aware of if you make a mistake so that you could catch it and go back. And it's just that being able to sit and be quiet with your thoughts, or like if you're with a friend or coworker, you could talk.
Yeah, a lot of people have knitting groups that they sit and knit together. And for me, knitting, it takes so much concentration. You know, there's like the wrong side, you can purl or you can knit. And I've never been too good at that, but I love weaving and fiber crafts. Like I've been doing macrame, which is another fiber craft. It's like this, but it's with knots. And I just find it so relaxing, and also it's quick. Like, look, I already have this much done, and we've only been doing this a few minutes.
Right. I like how that stuff is like coming back, macrame. When I was talking to my mom about it, because I was thinking about doing a program at my site, she's like, "Oh, I was doing that when I was your age." And I'm like, "Really?"
Yeah, all those hippie crafts are
Yeah,
super in right now.
right.
I was thinking about that because the sand craft that you did, which you could probably still watch on YouTube here, it's like it's such a 70s thing, 70s sand art.
Right. So at my site next week, Saturday on March 6th, we are doing Tween Saturday. We are going to make a stress ball using water beads, and we're going to figure out why do the water beads expand and how do they expand. So you're more than welcome to join us. You can find any of the information and events online on our website. So this is how mine is turning out. You see how cool that is?
Oh, nice. I see you switched colors.
It's the same.
Oh, yeah, you had the gradient color.
Yeah.
So what if I do want to switch colors? Are we getting there or should I?
If you want to try it, you're more than welcome to. All you want to do is cut the string and then knot it, the other one together.
Right. Okay.
So
I'm going to try that. So I've got one color here.
yeah.
I'm going to cut my tail off.
Ouch. Just kidding.
And I really like these colors together. So I'm going to try this color. So I'm going to take a little tail. And as Miss Erica said, we're just going to knot them together. So this knot is going to sit here on the side of your work, or you could probably see it on the underside, the wrong side as well. And that's okay. That's actually how we change color in knitting sweaters or knitting anything as well. So I'm pulling it really tight. So I just tied them together, and now I'm going to trim my tails down here.
And for me, when I was making examples, it was always easy for me to leave the tails on one side. So if you preferred the left, that's great. If you prefer the right, that's great. It's just, for me, visually, it's easier to keep things all on one side.
Right, and that's going to make your work look cleaner in the end too.
Right.
And I must admit, I don't knot my thread. I just hold it. So practice that. Knot it if you need to. It's not a problem if you need to. It's just years and years of just holding it. So that is what it looks like. I tied my 2 knots together and then I trimmed the tails. And now I'm just going to continue weaving. And again, I'm going to make sure that I weave the opposite pattern as the line before. So you can see I'm over here and I'm going to go under. Just like that. I said that about the needle and then I forgot that I didn't knot it and it came out. That's okay.
So here is an example of a mistake that I made earlier. As you can see, I pulled too tight, so I'm getting this hourglass shape here. As much as I tried to expand, but it wouldn't, it kept the hourglass shape. So that's what we mean by it being too tight. So yeah. And then if you want to be creative and add some flair, you're more than welcome to. That's what I did with this. And let me take this one out of the way. All I did was grab a piece and I took it between 2 of the white threads. I don't know if you're getting any of this. And that's how it looks.
Nice. So I too have a little bit of bowing here because I pulled it tight, and I'm going to move forward. It might change the shape a little bit, but it's a good thing to constantly keep in mind, right? We want it to be straight and flat.
So again, this is how mine is turning out. Again, it looks like I'm pulling too tight. I'll try and see if I could stretch it out. It looks like that. How's everyone else's project? Looks good. Have any questions? Good.
Right, and if they have questions after, is there anywhere we can ask?
Yes, they'll be able to leave questions at the bottom of our video, and we will monitor it. And so we'll tech support, and we will try to answer them when we see them.
So if you do drop a stitch, is there any way to pick it up?
If you notice that you dropped a stitch, you could always go backwards and undo your work to fix it. Or you could
just leave it, right?
Yeah, or you could leave it and see how it turns out. I'm trying to be mindful of my yarn, and it looks like it's coming apart. So, if you want to grab a small piece of tape, if that's what yours is doing, you can do that.
Right. This yarn does fray really easily at the ends, which is why we leave a long tail, right? We've got a good piece to work with.
So maybe even the piece of tape will help me as a needle. So have you read any cool books lately, or do you have a book recommendation?
Book recos. Let's see. Ooh, and I don't have it with me. Right now I'm reading How to Make Friends with the Sea. And I'm blanking on the author's name, which is bad, but I really like I really like the book. It is about a young boy named Pablo who moves around a lot with his mother, and they are they're drafted to take care of a young girl who is in a lot of trouble. She was born with a cleft palate and doesn't have a family. And Pablo is experiencing a lot of anxiety, and it's undiagnosed anxiety. So it's just a really good book about two people who are, not really communicating their best with the world, coming together and finding each other. So it's really beautiful. I'm liking it. And that's called How to Make Friends with the Sea.
Awesome. That sounds like a really good book, especially during these new times that we're living in.
Yeah, I think it's one thing that I'm getting from it is it's like so easy to feel alone out there with all the things that go on in our minds. Sometimes we think, well, I'm the only one that feels this way, and it maybe not true. Sometimes we learn that a lot of people feel that way.
Yeah.
How about you? What are you reading?
That's a good question. I feel like I actually cannot sit down and read anymore, so I'm listening to more audiobooks. I can't even tell you what I'm listening currently, but I did listen to a more teen book. So again, uh, it's a more mature book. It's called I'm Not, you know, I'm not, ugh. I'm no good. It's you have the sense of the Me Too movement in it. It's a great, like I said, great book for teenagers. You could easily relate to it. Or, just because it's a current topic. Um, it's about Mia, who has experienced a lot of trauma, and her father and stepmother decided in her best interest to go to an alternative school all the way in a different state. And there she meets other girls who have similar experiences, and she has to cope with the reality of the trauma. So again, it's a very difficult book. It's a heart-wrenching book, but it's a good book.
I think I've heard of that one.
I'm pretty sure it was a 2020 best of the best. So
Sometimes those hard books can help us get through things in our own lives that are hard.
I did read my very first graphic novel last year. I read Pumpkinheads. So that was a really cool graphic novel. I'm trying to be more open about what I do read. So I know that the teens at my site enjoy reading graphic novels, anime, and manga. So I believe in April, the teen book discussion will be a graphic novel.
Nice.
So that's how mine is looking.
Ooh, very good.
And
Changed colors again. I'm
yeah,
gonna keep going with that pattern.
cool. And as you can see, I still have that hourglass going on. But it's
Yeah. The tension, I mean, we're not machines, right? We're not going to be perfectly straight. You know, one teen graphic novel that I really like, but I've never really understood why it's in teen. I feel like it could go either way. It could be Ellum or it could be teen. But I really like the Lumberjane series. Have you read any of those?
oh, that's one of my favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, they're so good and like so adventurous and cute, and I just love everything about them.
Yes. Okay. So I don't know what happened, but my back got loose for some reason.
Ah.
I don't know. Maybe I didn't make it tight enough, but we'll see what happens at the end.
So should I be going all the way, make it all the way over here?
Again, we're gonna try and do 2 fingers.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I missed that 2-finger mark. I got like 1 finger.
So I probably have about 4 more lines, but.
Okay.
Hey, Miss Kristin, I see that you changed your outfit.
Good. I see you changed as well.
Yeah, and I put my hair up and I have my glasses on. Gonna rock it today.
Right. You got to stay relative, you know.
So
just
we
like
have
Grammys.
we have a few more lines left because you remember how we said earlier we want 2 fingers space at the bottom and we want 2 fingers space at the top. This will help us at the end. So I have a few more lines to complete, and I think Miss Kristin does too.
Yeah. I'm gonna finish this up. It's nice that I can see the over-under pattern, so I can put down my work and come back to it, and I don't have to ask, you know, where was I? I can easily see, because we use different colors for here, I can easily see whether I went under or over, so that's helpful.
Right. So do you have a preference on where you end? Like, do you leave it always on the left side, always on the right side? Does it matter?
Ooh, good question. So let's see. I feel like I've done most of the work on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'll end it after 2 more lines on the right side.
Okay. I am the opposite. I'm going to try and end it on the left.
Ah. Is that generally you try to end on the opposite side that you start?
That's a good question. For all I know, I just turned it the wrong side, huh? I should have marked it top, bottom, huh? Left, right.
Well, I know that this was my starting place because I still have the tape there. But I might not have enough yarn to make it back, so then I'll have to end on the other side. But it doesn't matter either way, right? We could end it on either, huh?
Right, right. Okay, so I'm ending mine on the left.
Cool.
As you can see, this is where I'm hoping that I'm doing this correctly. No, that's the right, isn't it? No, that's the left. I don't know. I don't know anymore. I'm gonna end where I started.
Awesome. I think that's a good answer.
So do you have any pointers as to how to tie this piece with this one? Is that how you normally do it?
So when you're weaving for the end, you know what? I don't know if I've ever finished a project. I'm a classic starter, not a finisher, but there is a way that you can kind of weave your extra thread down to the bottom. So if I were to take my needle and kind of run it through, as long as we have enough line, it would be able to reach that bottom starting point, and then we can tie them off.
Cool. So I have not tried that yet. I don't have a needle, and I think it would be too tough for me to try and get the thread through. So I'm just gonna leave it out. So we're gonna wait and see how Kristin finishes her option of ending her weaving. It looks like I'm wearing a hat.
I like it. Dr. Seuss in the house.
What?
Well, now I just got all tangled, so let me try that again. Okay. So I got to remember to finish that stitch on the last one. So I'm wrapping it over. And then you probably don't really even need to hit all of these. Like normally to tuck in your work, you just kind of try to hide it in some other lines.
Yeah.
That looks okay. It kind of pulls it down a little bit, but as you can see, I just kind of threaded it through there. And then I'm going to pull off my starter piece. It's safe to tie, right?
Okay. So this is the tricky part. We need to leave space at the top and the bottom to cut the twine. So what you want to do is flip it over to the back, just like I did.
Okay. Now that's before I tie my knot or after?
So you tied your knot because that's how you would normally do it for your project, right?
To finish, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I've tied my starter piece and my bottom piece tails together, and I'm gonna leave, I'm not gonna cut them off just yet. I'm gonna leave them so I can see. And then I flip it over to the back.
Yep. So now this is the tricky part. Like I said, we're going to try to cut with our scissors the thread.
Okay. And so should I try to be cutting in the middle?
Yeah, that's what it'll give us some room. Hopefully I've done this enough that I'm not going to make a mistake, but if I do, we can figure it out.
Okay. So I'm going to pull the tape off, and then I'm leaving this tie part, and then I'm cutting the strings underneath here.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carefully take it off the cardboard like that, like that.
Should I cut this big string in the middle too?
I did. And you want to do it on the opposite side too. As you saw, Miss Kristin took off her tape. I left my tape on. It doesn't matter.
That's exciting.
Okay. Now I'm going to pull off my tape from the front. And now we have a mess, but that's okay. How it looks.
Ooh, it's like almost a mask.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for another mask cover, I wouldn't wear this alone, wear it over something. Maybe you could make that.
Now I'm going to try to tie my purple string to my blue string, so the top to the bottom. And I'm probably going to mess this up, but it's okay.
All right, I got my knot at the top. It's a little messy. The tension is a little shifting, and that's okay. I might be able to play with it and stretch it a little bit.
Right. But it's okay because it makes it unique.
And honestly, the more you practice at this, the more uniform and neater it's going to be.
Right.
So if you really like doing it, you can show us how good you get at it.
So at the bottom, I have 6 white twines, and all I'm going to do is knot them so that I'll end up with 3. So here's the first one. Here's the second one.
So in New Mexico, I went to this beautiful weaver on a mountain who had just been weaving for hundreds of years, and they just had the most amazing work.
Yeah.
All natural fibers from all of their animals, and I think they had looms, real large looms, which I don't know if you've ever seen one, but that might be a good thing to look up sometime. But yeah, it kind of feels like we're replicating that kind of work.
So this is how my bottom turned out.
Ooh, that's really nice. Okay, I like how your knots come below the work a couple of inches.
Yeah.
So they don't come flush with that bottom blue.
Right. So if you want, you could knot it at the top, or you could braid it. Again, this is your unique piece. This is how you could show your creativity. And like what Miss Kristin said, with practice, you'll be amazing.
Right. Innovative.
Yes.
So my knots look a little bit ununiform, but that's okay. I think it'll work. And now I'm going to do the top.
And this is how our sample turned out. Look how cool did that one turn out.
Nice.
I like the colors. They're really pretty.
Yeah, that black really pops.
Yeah. And here's the one that we made. See.
Ooh. There's so many possibilities to make with this shape. Like if we had kept going a little bit longer, we could do like a cup holder.
Yeah, like the one that I made.
Yes.
I've seen like my friends make stuff like this, and they use it for the cup warmers. Like when they go out and get like hot coffee or tea, they just wrap it around their drinks.
Right, it can be a coaster too, right?
Right, yeah.
All right, so last step, should I cut down the twine?
Sure.
And then we can and I think I could have made this a lot bigger and worked on it for longer. It's so relaxing and it went really quickly.
Right.
Cut down my string. So I'm cutting the white twine, trimming that. So it can look more like yours.
Awesome. Look at our finished project. I hope
Yay.
yours turned out great. Leave any questions or comments below and we'll try to answer them for you. I hope you had as much fun as we had.
Yes, and if you make this, send us pictures. We want to see your work.
Yes. Okay. So thanks for tuning in to the first Tween Saturday. Thank you, Kristin, for joining me. Thanks to Children and Teen Services for your continue to support us in our programs such like this and many others. Subscribe to this channel and follow us on all of our social media platforms. Keep an eye out for the next series hosted by the staff of the Back of the Yards branch. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Erica. Bye, everybody.